Hi, I'm Judy Griffin with Aroma Health Texas, and today we're going to make a heart note chord where we're putting several essential oils together, or absolutes together, to make one blend for the heart. And we can make this ahead of time and use it in other blends. I just want to mention that last week we made I call it an amber blend. We used lavender concrete, we used benzoin styrax, which has a vanilla scent, and we used labdaman, which is kind of an amber scent, and it's very, very delicious smelling. And that is our low note chord, and it will go well with rose or very floral scents. I know I told you not to cheat and open them up too soon, but that is wonderful. Yeah, that's perfect. It's going to be perfect for our blend today. And I'm going to go over some of the most used, popular, and sometimes expensive essential oils and absolutes that are used in perfume, commercial and otherwise industry. First, and we'll make a little blend. I've already got it labeled with the name and the date. It's got a little heart for heart blend and our date today. Believe me, that comes in handy when you're trying to figure out how long it's been since you did your blend. This blend from last week is really about ready, and it's only been about 7 to 8 days. Normally, you can take up to 3 weeks for a chord blend to meld to make a new perfume. But, at least 3 days, okay, at least 3 days. So we're going to start with what are called the narcotic smelling blends. That I don't like that word really, but they're so floral, and they just evoke feelings and awareness that you normally would not have. And they're in your crazy days. They're very good for soothing the personality. It's good for depression and anxiety and all those kind of moods that people have. But they're also good for, bringing out, happiness and the life of the party. So these are notes or chords that you can make with it. The heart notes would include clary sage, which is like the sweetheart of perfumery essential oils. It just blends with so many things, and it has a sweet, herbaceous scent that dries out if you put it on a drop on litmus paper and let it dry within a very short time and smell it. That's the dry out, what is called a dry out scent, and it's warm and balsamic. Now, clary sage is the best essence for anxiety. Make sure you get green clary sage, because the first clary sage I ever got was, it smelled like old shoes. You could mix it with lavender and things and it'd be fine, but you could hardly use any of it, just the tiniest little bit. And with the green clary sage, it's great, and you can use as many as 15 drops in a heart note chord. So the next one is rose. Obviously, you've got rose absolute, you've got rose atars, which we also make, you've got rose concretes. The rose essential oil is called rose otto. It's really not strong enough for a really good perfume unless you're using it as a background scent. And rose geranium, which we're going to use today, and it mixes with all aromas. Rose and rose geranium mix with all aromas, and that's really important. It's one thing you won't have to remember is what it mixes with. And it's much cheaper than some of the rose absolute and such. Or you could use just plain geranium. You don't want to use geranium alone. Geranium itself has to be used with other scents. other heart notes to really come out in a blend. And you want to use what we call bourbon geranium. It's very long lasting, and it does have a rose dry out scent. It's what you get at the end is the dry out. It's, again, much less expensive, and just don't use it by itself. Mix it with something. You could mix it with clary sage. You could mix it with jasmine. You could mix it with, a little bit of a more expensive rose. And when I'm talking about mixing, I'm talking about drops. And I'll give you an idea of what you can use in a blend today. Jasmine is the most important. Grandiflora is the one that is used most often in perfumery, although sambuc is also used both as absolutes or concretes. And if you didn't see this before, this is what a jasmine absolute looks like. It's a waxy material, and you cannot dissolve it in a carrier oil or in water. It has to be dissolved in alcohol, or like we did the other week, we heated it up on a little hot plate and then put it in our blend. And I don't know, it's just a universal scent. You will find jasmine in any major popular perfume ever made. So that's one to put on your list. Lang, which is Lang the extra, like the first cut of ylang flowers that are distilled, or in an absolute. Absolutes go really well in perfumes. It's a perfume in itself, and it has multi-layers of scent, so it's wonderful. The thing about ylang that's also interesting is it can be used as a low note, it can be used as a high note, and it can be used as a heart note like we're talking about today. And you will find this one in many, many perfumes and colognes. We have tuberose, which it's gathered at night. It smells so good at night. And it smells good during the day too. We've made it, and it's an absolute. Where, I think during the spring season when we have lots of flowers, I'll be able to actually demonstrate how to make an absolute at home, but you've got to have fresh flowers for it. So it's gathered after dark, which is kind of exciting. I don't have a lot of things that excite me anymore. Those opportunities are gone. But it's also one of the very most expensive fragrances to use in a heart note, and you want to dose it sparingly. Although it is expensive, and that's one reason you want to dose it sparingly, or it will take over your whole blend. It is an aphrodisiac and an antidepressant, and it's good for fatigue, and that's what the heart note is all about, and bringing out all your hopes and dreams and everything that you would be considered a peaceful situation in your environment, in your body. No matter what's going on with you, you have your scent, and it'll get you through. So we also have herbal or fruity smelling essential oils, and they're very fresh smelling, and they have a warm dry out. A warm is going to give you a cozy feeling. Roman chamomile is one of the most popular, and it has an apple scent, and it's very carefully dosed in perfume. Like you could use a drop or two in a quart and it would be enough. So if you like it, though, you could use it as one of your main essential oils in your heart blend. And if you'll remember, in Alice in Wonderland, Peter Rabbit, his favorite tea was Roman chamomile tea. So another one that I'd like to introduce is blue tansy. And blue tansy, it is a tansy, it is not a chamomile. It has a yellow flower, but it's not. When you buy blue chamomile, make sure you're getting blue tansy. Tennesseetum is would be blue tennesseetum. to get the smell that you want, because there's nothing like blue tansy. It is fantastic. It goes well with ylang and geranium. Again, lavender, you would want to dose it very carefully. And it smells so good, you just want to have it all by yourself. So think about that in a blend. It could be the main scent in a blend, like rose or jasmine. Instead of that, have blue tansy. You could mix it with lemon verbena, which is probably the most adulterated essential oil. You're usually always getting some, if not a lot, of lemongrass. You would have to have hundreds of acres of lemon verbena to make even a few quarts of essential oils. So it's really, truly rare. It's expensive, but it has this soft, sweet smell that just, it just kind of goes in with it makes everything in your blend smell better. And it has a light lemony dry out. Or you could use something much less expensive, Litsea cubeba. And that is the Mayflower, the Chinese Chang Mayflower. It's a great big flower, and it makes a very lemony scent, but it doesn't ever go rancid. All your other lemons can go rancid, especially lemongrass after a while. So it's the best lemon scent that you can have in a perfume. And it's got that light, airy dry out, and we're going to use some today. There is an orange absolute, which comes from the same flower that makes neroli. And neroli scent is wonderful. You cannot be depressed and smell neroli. You just can't. So, and remember, I started all my work in the 80s in mental emotional health situations in hospitals and that. So I've had plenty of time to try out these scents on people in many different situations and diagnoses and see how they reacted. And they like neroli. Believe me, everybody liked neroli. And orange absolute is just exquisite. It's even more exquisite than neroli, which is distilled. It's the same flower, but it's distilled and makes neroli. When you make an absolute, which is waxy, solid, semi-solid, that's your orange absolute. And again, it's one of the most exquisite but yet expensive blends that we can put in a perfume. It's very intense, and the dry out is very citrusy and very floral. I didn't know I left my phone on. Sorry about that. And it's best used with floral blends. So we're going to make a floral blend right now. Here's my dark amber bottle, which best holds your perfumes. And we're going to start with rose geranium. That's going to be my main scent. That's my most important scent in this blend. That's going to be a heart blend. We're going to put 8 drops. Sorry, I have to be quiet while I count or I might forget. And then we're going to have champaka. I haven't talked about champaka yet, but it is, or champa, it's also known as. It's a wonderful, wonderful absolute, and it smells like apricot and almond. It's just, oh, it's wonderful. And it's going to be an assisting scent. It's not as potent as my rose, and that's what I want. I'm going to put 5 drops of that. I find champaka does better as an assisting scent rather than a main scent in most of my perfumes. And and Aroma blends. And here's our Litzia for our lemony scent. Whoops, we got a little, that got stuck in there. This is going to keep, we're going to put 4 drops. This is going to keep the blend smelling light and fresh. And that's its main goal. It's not just, you don't need to smell lemon a whole lot. That's not our goal. It's just keep it fresh and uplifting. And we're going to put something different in here. I'm trying to introduce a lot of different ones and ideas. We're going to use a Carnation Absolute. And it's light, but it also has just the faintest touch of clove in there. You don't want to smell clove, but there's a little bit there. And that will, again, be 4 drops. So you'll notice we have more than 15 drops in here. When you're making a perfume, you don't have to keep the 6 low note, 15 heart note, 9 top note, but it's a good balance if you want to use that. And when you make perfumes more and more, whether you use perfume alcohol or you use a carrier oil like sweet almond oil, then you'll get more, try more different things. You can actually have 3 chords of heart notes, all different, and 3 chords of different low notes or high notes. The thing to remember with your low note is to match it with your middle note, especially with your middle note, and it will match with most any high notes. But you don't want, I mentioned like there's ones you can make that are made from all wood, like cedar and something like that. It doesn't really, kind of overwhelms rose in some of the floral. It holds it down too much. So you want the lighter ones, like we did a lighter one the other day, and it smells good already. So we're going to cap this. If you're at home, you would repeat the same formula, the same amount of drops over and over until you complete your blend. I do it that way. I find it works much better. I don't try to triple my recipe and put it all in there. It's like when you make a recipe of food, it's better to just do the single than to try and double it. Sometimes it just doesn't come out the same. So this is our heart note, and it is a chord. It's not just a note, it's not a single, it's a chord, and it is supposed to blend together, and it will have a very floral scent, but you may not be able to pick out any one scent, although rose could be in this case because we use more of it, because I like rose. So I hope you send your questions to me, and email or call or however you do it, and we'll be back next week to complete this perfume with a high note. And remember, if you're using alcohol, the only one that works is perfume alcohol, which you can't mail without a dangerous good license. So when I make perfumes for people, like, they want the alcohol because the alcohol, the perfume alcohol, lifts it in layers, and you can smell it for a long, long time. That doesn't quite be the same with sweet almond oil. So, but if you try to use vodka, it's just not, it's going to be heavy, it's not going to smell the same, and it's not going to lift. But if you're mailing things, then you want to use your sweet almond oil. If someone wants you to make them a perfume, they need to come and get it, okay? And that's, or somebody come get it for them if it's got 200% alcohol in there, because it is very flammable. That's our world right now, and I hope to see you back next week. Bye-bye.